It's Becca from Scratch Magazine here, and happy Global Recycling Day. Now, to mark the occasion today, I'm very shortly going to be joined by Paul Seaward, who is the co-founder of the Green Salon Collective. And the Green Salon Collective supports salons in responsibly disposing of the waste they create each day. So it's really important, and today we're going to be talking all about Paul's top tips for implementing recycling into your beauty business, and also we're going to hear a little bit more about the Green Salon Collective and hear how you can all get involved. So really important tips today, and this will be available after, because I'm sure these tips will last throughout beyond Global Recycling Day, so really important to take them on board. So we'll try add Paul in now. And any questions, of course, please just add them in the comments. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi. Yeah, good. Here.
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
It's amazing. A happy Global Recycling Day.
Yeah, likewise.
So to start off, can you just
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how anyone watching can use Global Recycling Day to evaluate how they use recycling in their business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think after what's happened over the last couple of years, us as a business have sort of been very fortunate to be able to get the time of sort of salon owners, really. And I think it's a topic that's obviously becoming more and more top of mind for people. But maybe, the last few months things have gone back to normal. We're busy in salon lives, and I think it's just a good reminder, a day like today, just to bring sustainability and the topic back to the front of people's minds. And it can be an overwhelming topic and a subject, but I think small steps are the key, really. So one small step taken today, I think, could have a positive effect overall for the industry, because it's not a small industry.
No.
So we can have massive effects.
Exactly, and that kind of leads on to my next question, because I think people are very aware of the negative impacts of not recycling and everything going to landfill, but acting on this is quite hard, isn't it? So why is it so important that beauty businesses act now?
Yeah, very good question. I think when I was just saying about the size of the industry, I guess we're in the region of probably 50, 60,000 hair and beauty salons across the UK. So, and when you put that into perspective in terms of, every high street you walk down, there's a salon, and when you actually think about the waste that we generate and kick out as a salon compared to other shops on the high street, we are probably the ones that are having the biggest impact on the environment. So it is extremely important. In the UK, we still have the method of landfill that we tend to use far too often, I would say.
Yeah.
And the whole goal of the Green Salon Collective from the start really has been to find alternative solutions for and uses for our typical waste streams to keep them in use, basically, the whole circular economy theory. So there are many things that we can do. Green Salon Collective set out with the ethos, basically, that we're zero to landfill. So the worst, that would never ever happen. At best, we want to find a circular solution for all of our waste streams. And second best, if we can't find a solution for it, then we want to use it for something else. So, for example, beauty is quite a good topic, because beauty salons tend to have quite a few waste streams that aren't that easy to recycle. So, for example, a used wax strip or a multi-component nail file can be very difficult or sometimes impossible to recycle. In that case, then we wouldn't send it to landfill. Would do the next best thing, which would be send it through a waste to clean energy process, ultimately sending energy back to the national grid and using that waste as a fuel, as an energy source.
Yeah, amazing. And I know that we talked to you for our recycling feature in our March issue, and you said about how you can recycle old nail polishes and do the same, create energy from them.
Yeah, so any excess sort of, I mean, they tend to come in sort of glass jars, don't they? So things like glass, I mean, that's a common recyclable item, a commodity, so that wouldn't be an issue at all. That would be recycled in the traditional way that glass is recycled. Any excess sort of chemical or polish would go through the waste to clean energy process that I just mentioned.
It's amazing because there's so many different materials that aren't taken in by local collection recycling schemes, aren't there? But they can actually be transformed into something new.
Absolutely, yeah, and that sort of leads me on to plastics. You've probably got a question about what we can do with these waste streams, but that sort of leads me on to plastics. A lot of local authorities will only take certain types of plastic, or at least recycle that. So our setup is that we take everything and then we work with individual specialists for the different types, the different numbers and the different soft, hard plastics.
Yeah. And I know that you have like salon kits, don't you, that you sell to stands with the different waste streams. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so basically a salon would join Green Salon Collective. It's like a lifetime membership, basically, a one-off sort of joining cost, which doesn't have to be very expensive at all. But that starter kit that a salon receives it basically sets them up to recycle the chosen waste streams that they want to recycle with us. So they're free to choose. So for in the sake of a beauty salon, they'd probably choose, like metals for nail foils. They would probably choose like a glass recycling service. Most likely have a plastics and a paper. And then for the hard to recycle items, like I mentioned, the used wax strips, the multi-component nail files, then that's probably where they would implement a waste to clean energy service for those hard to or impossible to recycle leftover items.
Amazing. And we've just had someone, as you were saying about, it doesn't have to cost much. They've said, does it cost much to be a sustainable salon? But it doesn't, does it?
It doesn't, no. In fact, it almost sounds too good to be true, because if it's done how we would say, if it's done correctly, it shouldn't cost the salon a penny. It should actually only make the salon money.
Yeah.
So I'll just go over that just so it makes sense. So a salon would join and they would get their starter kit. That would give them everything that they need to recycle. And that's a one-off fee. And a hair or beauty salon could join from £99 and that's it. That's all of your education, in-salon bins, everything.
Yeah.
Then from there, the salon starts recycling, collecting their materials in the traditional way. But there's one very important aspect, and the success to this system and the reason why a typical or traditional waste recycling system fails is because of mixed recycling. We say mixed recycling doesn't work. When you have used items, like I just said, aluminium nail foils that have come in, that obviously had nail polish on them, if they then come into contact with any other recyclable, and bearing in mind we're dealing with a lot of commodities, plastics, glass, paper, cardboard, if they come into contact, that causes cross-contamination. That can make it very difficult to recycle. So if it's, I guess, deemed in a state where it isn't sort of clean enough or good enough, then unfortunately that's going to be put in the big hole in the ground pile and not be recycled. So the success to the system is separation. So a salon would have an individual bin for their individual waste streams. So they'd have a metals bin, they'd have a glass bin, they'd have a paper bin. You get the idea. So everything is kept separate. So everything is separated at source, really, in salon. And then from there, just like you normally would do, individual waste streams are bagged up and placed into one of our return boxes. Our return box is the equivalent of the council recycling bin.
Yeah.
So the council would come once a week and collect. We only come and collect once that bin is full, for two reasons. One, from a sustainability perspective, we don't want to be coming and collecting half full or 25% full bins.
Yeah.
And also from a business perspective, because the business has actually paid for these bins. So you want to maximise, obviously, the value that you get from that.
Yeah.
But what's more important, when I mentioned this about it should be free of charge basically for a salon, we recommend that our member salons charge their clients what we refer to as a green fee. Call it a sustainability surcharge or a levy. I refer to it a bit like going into a London restaurant, and there's the 12.5%, discretionary surcharge. So on average, our salons, on a basic sort of kit recycling 2 or 3 items, they would charge a £1 green fee. What that green fee will do is that will cover all of the costs of recycling and the collections, everything, being a member basically of Green Salon Collective. So the idea is that it becomes a totally cost neutral operation or incentive for the salon. Some salons will say, but I don't want to charge my clients a green fee. They're already paying enough. We're already paying X amount. I don't want to charge them £1 on top. The reason that we suggest it is you only have to look back at stats from 2020 during the pandemic. If you look at Google searches in terms of, as a consumer, how to live a more sustainable life, how to buy more sustainably, buying more sustainable services, those search terms have just gone up through the roof. So what we are seeing is not only there's the demand from the business aspect, but also from the consumer side as well. So I'd say it's like it's almost like a force from the consumer that's going to be demanding this and demanding it more and more of business owners and businesses to produce sustainable and ethical services. So given all that, we see that consumers are more than happy to pay a slight addition on costs for services and products that are sustainable and ethical. So it's a good idea to advertise it in that way, because also I think from a business perspective, it puts a message out there that we are taking what we do seriously, we're acting on it, but we also want our clients, bearing in mind that you could say it's almost the clients that are contributing to all of this waste, Yeah, exactly. If we weren't going and getting all our beauty stuff done, then we wouldn't be generating this waste. So there is, the onus lies on the consumer as well, but consumers are willing to pay for that. So it's a win-win for the salon. And then finally, what we see as well, which is great from a business perspective, is that actual salons gain new clients, like-minded clients, because if you are an eco-conscious individual and you're in a small town with 2 or 3 beauty salons and 2 or 3 hairdressers, and one of them is actively promoting what they're doing and the new actions that they've taken, and the others aren't, and that consumer is willing to pay for that, then if you've marketed yourself as a sustainable business and these are the actions that you're taking, consumers are willing basically to change their service provider. Definitely. So salons do gain new clients from our initiative.
Definitely. And that leads us nicely onto a question that someone has asked. They've said, how can salons promote that they're being more sustainable with you?
Yeah, good question. So when salons join Green Salon Collective, they get a starter kit, basically, as I mentioned. Within that, there'll also be like a toolkit. And that will be like a digital and physical toolkit, basically. So there'll be for example, there'll be a press release in there that we've already written. So we've written, and the salon simply changes salon name and their location. And what we advise them to do is just send it off to your local press. The amount of local newspapers that love stories like this because it's something new in their area, they're more than willing to promote businesses that are taking such action. So that's like one of the tools. We also have a full toolkit of social content for the salon. So these are things that salons can simply just take off the member download section and post that I'm now a sustainable salon. This is what I'm going to do. And just one point on that as well, because I think it's important. We do get salons that are skeptical towards, it could be the cost or the green fee. And one thing that I always encourage salons and salon owners to do, because it is a misconception that clients won't pay a £1 green fee. it is, unfortunately, to say that is a misconception. But as business owners, like I say, sometimes we think we can't charge our client, we're charging them enough, we can't charge them anymore. What I would encourage all business owners to do is simply put a poll out on Instagram or Facebook, 24-hour poll, and just say, would you be willing to pay a £1 surcharge if, rather than us continuing sending our dirty aluminium nail files to landfill, that we recycle that and support charities through Green Salon Collective, or, you know, rather than us mixing contaminated plastics that ultimately can't be recycled and end up in landfill, we can turn them into, and I can tell you about that in a second. But so when you get that, I think it's really important. When you can communicate such a strong message, then you're not going to get many consumers that say, I'm not going to pay £1. And if they do, like I say, treat it like a discretionary restaurant surcharge. Remove it from the bill. But that'll be 1 in 100, I assume.
Yeah, I think most people are willing, especially in the times we live in, to pay a bit extra for that, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what we see anyway. And like I say, the ones that do and actively promote it as a salon gain new business. So it's a win for the environment, but it's also a win for the business from a commercial perspective.
Definitely. And talking about promoting your salon, promoting about your like sustainable efforts, I was doing some research on your website and I saw about your accreditation program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I was at Green Salon Collective, started just over 2 years ago, around 2 years ago now, with the main objective to recycle items that weren't being recycled. So our sort of tagline is recycle the unrecyclable. Since then, we've taken more of an I'll put my teeth in, an holistic approach. So from there, we've moved, recycling is just a small part of what we do. So we have education, which once a salon becomes a member of Green Salon Collective, they have access to lifetime education, both in person and digital. Then we wanted to take it one step further. Okay, so how can we look at a business from a holistic perspective? And that is when we developed the accreditation. So together with a third-party sustainability and change agency, we have basically written out the criteria looking at all aspects of the business. So an accreditation it's something that any salon member of ours can apply for. They'll be sort of shown all the prerequisites and what they will be basically audited on. And just to give you a flavour of the sort of level of depth that we go into, we'll of course look at the methods of recycling. It's obviously ticks many boxes if you are already with Green Salon Collective and already have those processes in place. But then we'll also look at other aspects. So it can be common things like your energy provider. But then it will be things that you might not even think about. It will be who do you bank with? Because we don't necessarily think about that, but we can look at the big banks and see that, okay, a large proportion of, I'm not going to say any banks, but X bank, their portfolio is in extraction of fossil fuels, for example. Yeah. So, okay, we could overnight switch bank. We bank with Starling. They don't invest in any fossil fuel startups or any sort of fossil energy companies for that matter. So overnight, you could have a big impact by simply changing the bank that you bank with. Or it could be down to sort of the refreshments that you serve in the salon. You know, are we serving bottles of water in single-use plastic, or are we serving tea and biscuits that are all wrapped, or biscuits that are all wrapped individually? Those sort of things can have an impact. So we take that holistic view of the salon, and then once the salon's comfortable that, okay, we can tick off a large proportion of all of these prerequisites, they will then have an audit with our partner, and they will literally assess them on all the areas and then give the accreditation to that salon.
Wow.
Upon completion.
That's such a good way to promote a salon, isn't it?
It is. So our main goal is that we can get more and more salons through the accreditation process, so it actually becomes the recognised, basically the standard in the industry. Because unfortunately, one thing that we noticed when we first started were that there were accreditation, sustainable certificates that were almost readily available, and you could almost be a fictitious salon that could apply for one of these. There was no auditing process. It was purely down to trust, and then you were accredited as a sustainable salon. But what does that really mean?
Yeah.
So we wanted to set the sort of the standard, and we just encourage more and more salons to go through the process, really.
Amazing. And so anyone watching today is interested, what should they do now if they want to join the Green Salon Collective?
So one thing that was very successful during all the lockdowns is once a month we said we're going to have an open evening. So I think it was the last Tuesday of every month, 7:00, we had a Zoom call. Any salon was invited to join, and it was simply an information session, just like this really, just an open chat. We'd go through the processes, what we offer, what that can mean for you as a business and a business owner. And then if you had any questions or wanted to join, then we'd take the next steps. So we do still run those, but if it's a case of it's a few weeks until the next one, by all means get in touch. We have some pre-recordings from the last one that we did. We can send that over, and it literally gives all of the information, a list of all of the services, but more importantly, how we recommend you as a salon and a salon owner to operate this sort of initiative, because if done correctly, like I say, everyone is a winner. So by all means, get in touch, and and we can send over the pre-recordings or invite you to the next information session.
Amazing. What strikes me about it all is it just seems really easy to implement this all, but it's so beneficial.
Yeah, I guess it probably does. But then I guess to some salons and some business owners, it can feel quite overwhelming, sustainability and recycling can sound such like a grand topic. You can get so overwhelmed that it basically leads to inaction, because you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So I think the key is, and like we say to all of our members, you don't have to go from nothing today to, recycling, accreditation, and then offsetting and whatever it may be. Simply take one thing. So my tip would be, as a beauty salon owner, you can say, okay, right, we're not going to put our aluminium nail foils in the general waste bin, which goes to landfill anymore. We're going to separate them now and just get our aluminium foils collected from us, and maybe charge a 50p green fee to a client, and we'll start with that, and then we can build from there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be complicated, but I get it. It can feel very overwhelming.
Amazing, though. It's been so lovely to hear about this all. I think a lot of people will probably be surprised about how much they can recycle with you.
Yeah, and there's basically no reason that we should be sending anything to landfill anymore. Like I say, our goal is to ideally have an end solution and a circular solution for every waste stream, but it's an ongoing journey and process for us as well. So we're still on that journey, and I don't expect it to end anyway. So yeah.
Amazing.
So come and join the ride is what I would recommend.
It's a win-win, as you say, for everyone with it.
It is, and it's only because we know how popular, well, not popular, but how important it is, and we're only going to face more and more, I think, external pressure, whether that be from governments or the EU or whoever it may be. So I think it's going to become the norm, but it's so important that we actually make a start and take action is the biggest thing, no matter how big it is.
Yeah, as you say, every little action someone takes does make a difference.
Absolutely, yeah. If we all just say recycled our aluminium nail foil across how many thousand beauty salons alone in the UK, we would be we'd be a long way. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. It's been really eye-opening.
Likewise, thanks for having us, and happy Recycling Day.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Likewise. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.